Hello, my name is Sean Robinson, and I am a government and AP government teacher here at Roosevelt High School, and I'm here to talk to you about the 2024 Europe trip to London, Paris, and Amsterdam. We're super excited about it. This is my contact information if you need to get a hold of me. I apologize for the echo. I'm in a little room here at STEM, and it's got a little bit of an echo. I'm also traveling. So Mr. Robinson, that's me. I've been teaching for 17 years at the high school level, and I've taken many of these student trips to Washington, D.C., New York City, and to Europe. This will be my fourth trip to Europe, and I'm super excited. I'm also traveling with my colleague, Mr. Knight, who is an AP Euro and World History teacher here at Roosevelt High School, as well as Mr. Porchot, who's another senior teacher, AP government teacher here at Roosevelt. And I'll be traveling with my wife as well. So the trip is June 3rd to June 12th of 2024, and that's right after the students graduate. This is not specifically a senior trip. It's a trip for juniors and seniors, but a lot of times it's seniors that go. And this is designed to be right after graduation. It's also designed to be before summer school would start. So if your son or daughter needs to take summer school, they could still get back and take summer school. The company that we travel with is ACIS, and this is our little trip ID number if you need to go to the website. And I created a website myself, tinyurl.com/ERHS Europe 2024. It has all kinds of information, and that's where you can go to register if you're interested. Please note that I only want you to register if you feel pretty confident that you're going, because I don't want you to get hit with some kind of cancellation fee, which I'll talk more about later. I have a code to join Remind and a code to join Google Classroom. Both of which you should definitely do if you're going to sign up for the trip, and especially Remind, even if you're just thinking about the trip, so we can talk to each other if you have any questions. So this is being recorded on September 26th, and so that's how up-to-date the information is here. You're here because I think you know the value of student travel and how amazing it is. I don't know if maybe you traveled when you were a kid, but to be able to send our sons and daughters to Europe, it's just a magical experience. We just got back from the summertime from a trip to Paris and Switzerland and Germany, and it was amazing. It was magical. It was fantastic, and the kids had the time of their life. You're going to see a lot of photos on this presentation of that trip. The company that we use is quite fancy. I would tell the students the company's kind of bougie. They give us hotels that are right next to where we want to be. So full disclosure, I've traveled to Europe like 10 years ago with a company called EF Tours, and they were okay, but one of my things I didn't like was that the meals weren't as good as I would like, and the location of the hotels were not the best. For instance, we would stay, imagine if you were like a German visiting America to see Los Angeles, and you would visit LA during the day, and then your hotel was in Eastvale. That's how it was with EF Tours, which was not my favorite thing. This company is much more premium, and as a result, for instance, when we went to Paris in the summer, we stayed like at the Eiffel Tower. It's like a 5-minute walk to the Eiffel Tower, and that allows our days to go a lot longer. Like, you can stay out till 10 p.m., 11 p.m. because you don't have to rush back to your hotel and have the bus driver do an hour drive. The dinners, the meals are fantastic. The breakfast is all you can eat, typically at the hotel. And then we are out and about and we have lunch. The students get to pick where they want to go for lunch. And then dinners, the company knows how important the dinners are to me. So they're very, very delicious, very fancy dinners. And then, of course, just all the other stuff that we're going to do. We're going to go into museums. We're going to go into attractions. We're going to take trains, we're going to take planes, we're going to stay in hotels, and that's all included in the price of what we're doing. We also have a guide who's with us every minute of every day who can help us out if there's any kind of issues that we might have. Now, I'm gonna do my thing now where I show a lot of pictures of the past trip that we took, and if you want to cut to more of the chase here and not have to relive all these slideshow pictures, you can cut more towards the end of the video and kind of see where the pictures end, and I start talking again about the specifics of the trip. But This is some of the students that I traveled with here. And I encourage, as I click through this slideshow, if you recognize anybody, and you probably do if you're a Roosevelt student, feel free to reach out to them and ask them, how was your experience on the trip? Was it good? Would you recommend it? And I don't care who you ask. I'm sure that everybody there would say, oh my God, it was life-changing. It was amazing. You got to go. So this is us in Paris. This is us touring like a salt mine in Austria. This is us in Germany with our local German guide. This is a very beautiful castle in Germany. Great opportunities for photos. You see some of the most beautiful places you've ever seen in your life. This is in Paris. We will see this. This is called Montmartre. This is us taking a little break from the bus. The boys found some sand and decided to pretend it was a beach. You get to eat all kinds of amazing food on these trips. This is me eating some escargot, and students will again have the opportunity to eat some escargot, so I hope you guys take advantage. It's included with one of our meals, and it's delicious. That was the best escargot I've ever had in my life. Here's some more photos of the salt mine tour. And all of these attractions, again, they are included. This is Paris. This is a little boat tour that we took. Sometimes there's like optional excursions. So this was during some free time in Switzerland. We gave the students the opportunity, if they wanted to hop on this cruise, they could do that. And these are the ones that wanted to go. I think this is one of the few photos I have that truly shows everybody that went on the tour. And this is us at the Palace of Versailles. This is our amazing guide, Libby, who is going to be our guide again. She was so great. I told the company I want her again, and I reached out, and she said, let's do it. So I'm very excited to be working with her again. The group is so large, they actually gave us 2 guides in case the first guide needed some assistance. This is us in Germany. Actually, this is Austria. We travel by bus, and so get a little comfortable place to put your stuff and get driven around. Some students sent me some pictures to show. So many of these are current seniors at Roosevelt High School. Beautiful Switzerland. The cool kids at the back of the bus. I want to emphasize on these trips, you get a lot of opportunities for free time. So for instance, we'll go to the Eiffel Tower and we'll go up the tower and look around. And then I'll say, hey guys, we have 2 hours. And during that time, or maybe even 3 hours, during that time, I want you to grab lunch with your friends and go shopping, stay within this area right here. And then I'll meet you back up at this spot. They can never be alone. I want groups of like 3 or more. And everyone has cell service on these trips, and I'll teach you guys how to sign up for that. But everything's very safe. We've never had any issues. And I think that this free time for the students is some of their most favorite memories that they have. This is shopping in Paris. This is taking a little train car up the side of a mountain in Switzerland. There's the top of the mountain. The cruise, hiking to a waterfall. We also travel by a high-speed train. So this is a train taking us into Paris from Switzerland. I think this was my favorite meal of the trip. Of course, it's not quite yet served in this picture, but we had roasted duck. And another thing that I want to offer parents, it's your choice, but if you sign a permission slip, we allow the students to have wine. We're having like about 9 dinners together. Maybe they will have wine for 2 or 3 of them with your permission, a glass of wine. Not going too crazy, but just enough to feel like they're experiencing the European culture. There's the beautiful Eiffel Tower. We take a cruise. We're going to do this on our trip too. Take a cruise and see Paris at night. We'll go to the Louvre, where you see, of course, the famous Mona Lisa. This is the Palace of Versailles. We're going to go here too. This is King Louis's palace, and you see this is the bed that he slept in with Marie Antoinette. This is also at Versailles, where the kids rented some boats and took them out for a little bit of fun. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but they rented boats down there. Versailles is one of the major highlights of the tour. One of the things that's really cool about Versailles, as I said, we're going to go here. It's a big, beautiful palace and these amazing gardens and all this stuff. But perhaps one of the most fun things about it is I lead the students on a little side excursion to Marie Antoinette's her chateau here. She was bored with the palace life, and so she had her husband built her a little fake village so she could pretend that she was a peasant woman. Looks kind of like a Disneyland version of being a peasant woman, but she liked to cosplay poverty. This is us about to have our last dinner of the night, the escargot dinner at Montmartre in Paris. Just some more pictures. Parents can come too. You'll notice a few parents in these photos as well. We have amazing food. This is crepe. This is Nutella crepe with banana. Again, class of 2023 pictures at the Eiffel Tower. We take the subway, teach the kids how to navigate, be safe, stay together as a group, watch your belongings, put your wallet and your phone in your front pocket, carry your backpack in front like this young lady's doing. We walk the streets together and make sure the kids are safe. Every student is assigned to one of the adult chaperones so that we can make sure that everybody's accounted for. We're constantly checking each and every person, like probably once every 30 minutes or an hour, make sure that we have our people. And just more pictures of hiking. Switzerland has beautiful cows. It looks like they have mascara on. They're so pretty. This is one of our dinners together at a hotel in Switzerland. So let's talk more specifically about the 2024 trip and what you'd be signing up for. We're going to take a plane. I requested Ontario Airport, but maybe from LAX. We will arrive in London and spend 3 days in London. And you can see kind of the itinerary of what we're going to do. Some of the highlights include going to the Shakespeare Globe Theatre and doing a little workshop there. All right, but let's take a closer look. So flight to London in a big airplane. And we actually added a day to this trip. So you'll notice that it says Wednesdays free to explore. Our guide is from England, so she knows a ton about London, and I'm sure she's going to take us to all the special little spots that that other tourists don't go to. Again, she's incredible. Her name is Miss Libby. So these are all the kind of things we'll see in London. We'll see Big Ben. This is Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. We'll see the London Eye. It'll probably be offered as an optional excursion to go check out the London Eye. We'll see Trafalgar Square, and we'll go inside the National Gallery, which is our museum. Nearby here, I took a group before and we walked over to Winston Churchill's underground headquarters in the subway from World War II, which is pretty cool. He had to basically live underground for years, and it's kind of neat to see like basically the White House, but underground. This is Piccadilly Circus, their version of Times Square, and we'll go there and do some shopping. Buckingham Palace, you'll see the guards, the famous palace guards. Windsor Castle, we'll ride the London Underground. St. Paul's Cathedral. The Imperial War Museum, again, the London Eye, we'll get to go up into that if you want to. We're going to check out the Shakespeare Theatre. I've never been there before. But I believe we're going to do a workshop where we talk with actors and actresses, which will be fun. Kensington Castle, the Soho District. We'll get to experience the delicious food that England has to offer. Westminster Abbey. England's a great introductory country because it feels a lot like America, but a little bit different, and you can get your bearings and feel comfortable speaking the same language as the locals, which is nice. And then we're going to take the Channel, which is a high-speed train that goes under the ocean here, under the Strait of Dover, under the English Channel, and takes us into Paris, where we're going to spend 3 days in Paris. And in Paris, we're going to see all the sites again, whether it's London or Paris or Amsterdam. We're staying right there in the middle of everything in a hotel that's centrally located so that we can have late nights if we want to, all together safely. Our latest night on the last trip was about midnight, getting back from that night cruise of Paris. But knowing that we could just walk right back to our hotel, and kids would grab a pizza if they wanted and take it up to their room, kind of made things much more convenient than having to bus an hour outside of town. As I said, the hotel will be near the Eiffel Tower. Some pictures from 10 years ago when I went. Also from 10 years ago. This is Notre Dame. If you know your history, it experienced a fire recently and it's currently under renovation, but we can still check out the exterior. We'll take a cruise on the River Seine. We're going to go to the Louvre. One of the cool things is that we have preset admission to everything. We don't have to wait in lines. So we got our tickets right away and we can go straight to check-in. And the Louvre, of course, has many famous works of art. This is past groups. This is the very first group I ever took. You see kind of a small group. If you look at this lady on the left, she is not a part of our group. She photobombed it. That's why we're all kind of laughing, like, what are you doing here? And this is the next year. Again, still 10 years ago, a bigger group. And of course, at the Louvre, you see the Mona Lisa and Winged Victory, Venus de Milo. We're going to go to another museum called the Pompidou. We will go to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Tickets are included. You can take the elevator, or you can take the stairs if you want to. This is us getting ready to go up. I think, in my opinion, that Paris is the most beautiful city I've ever been to in my life. All the buildings, it seem like a part of one big master plan. They're all very gorgeous and detailed. Taking pictures at the top of the Eiffel Tower. And then we'll go to the Palace of Versailles, which was King Louis's castle, built by Louis XIV and then was used until Louis XVI when there was a revolution against him, and they cut his head off and cut Marie Antoinette's head off, and the people rose up against them. But it's a beautiful palace, huge. And I think more impressive than the palace is the grounds. And we will actually be renting bikes as part of our trip. It's included. And the students will get to bike around, which they have, that's, again, one of the huge highlights. They'll get ice cream, we'll have a picnic, and eat and hang out and spend the day at the Palace of Versailles, which is magical. In Paris, we eat at a lot of these types of restaurants, and the best tables are actually on the outside on the boardwalk. This is a group from the past getting ready to eat outside some pizza. The food that you have available to you is amazing and fantastic, and I highly encourage you to try gelato and macaroons and crepes. But if that scares you, there's always Burger King too. But one of the fun things that we do is I make a sort of challenge list of, like, take a picture with this and find the secret that's here and eat this food and eat that food. And kids get points for competing against each other. One thing I'll mention is that breakfast and dinner are provided, but like I said, lunch is typically during our free time, and so it's not included it's the only thing really that's not included in the trip. Even tips are included in the trip, but not lunch, because we're often off on our own exploring with our friends, and you get to pick your lunch. Lunch to me is one of my favorite meals because we actually get to go eat at a place that we get to pick. And you get to try unique things like escargot and frog legs. Or, like I said, you can have Burger King if you're scared. This is a little example of a prior list that I made, like take a selfie of you and the Mona Lisa, or buy a book at Shakespeare and Company in Paris, or try a macaroon, or bargain the price of an item to be lower, or, convince a local that you're from London. Just silly stuff to keep the kids interested and engaged and trying new things. And then we're going to take our last high-speed train, and we're going to Amsterdam in the Netherlands. I've never been there. I'm super excited. Every trip I try to add a new location that we've never been to before. So Amsterdam, this is the vibe of Amsterdam. Little apartments built along the river. They have a lot of, famous for their canals and their bike riding and their flowers. You see the fields of flowers and riding bikes. I'm very much looking forward to Amsterdam as a new place that I haven't seen yet, but just look how beautiful that is. Great for your Instagram photos. Here's some examples of food from Amsterdam. I had to Google it because, to be honest with you, I didn't know what they ate, but it looks pretty cool. This is a huge library that we're going to go check out. Great for your Instagram pictures. We're going to go to a Van Gogh art museum. He's actually my favorite artist. And I still need to kind of learn more about Amsterdam. That's all the pictures I got. And then back to the United States. So now let's talk about the rest of the trip outside of like a slideshow. So, obviously, travel absolutely changes your life. As a senior or a junior, you're going to remember this trip forever. You're going to get a taste of different countries and, England and France and Amsterdam, and you're going to learn what you want to go back to, what you want to explore more. All right. If you're concerned about health and safety on the trip, we make sure, if somebody is sick with COVID or something like that, that they stay in their hotel room and an adult stays behind to make sure that they are okay, and they'll catch up with the group when they're feeling better. You do not have to get vaccinated to go on this trip, although, it's nothing wrong with getting vaccinated. And so that's no longer like a requirement. So safety is super important. One of my major rules, of course, is no alcohol in the rooms. The only alcohol you should have is with parents' permission. Wine with some of the dinners. No beer or liquor back in the room. No gender mixing. I don't want any boys in girl rooms and any girls in boy rooms. Back at the hotel, if you want to hang out in the lobby, that's fine. But we always set a curfew, and the students have to stick to that curfew. And if I say you need to be in your room at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., we do room checks and make sure that everybody is where they're supposed to be to make sure that things are as safe as possible. And plus the days are so long and so tiring, and you end up walking, 15 miles a day, that you're kind of happy to go to your room and lay on the bed and fall asleep. So what is included in this price? All the flights are included. All the hotels are included. Every student gets their own bed. Nobody has to share a bed. The rooms are 2 or 3 people, just depending on the hotel and how it's set up. I always try to put you with your friends. So you give me a list of your friends and then I'll put you in a room with them as best I can. I work very, very hard, many hours to make sure that everybody's happy and rooming with who they want to room with. Also included is, like I said, a tour manager who's with us all the time, 24/7. And all the tips for the bus driver and the local guides and the tour manager, they're all included in the price of your tour. The food, the breakfast and dinners are included, the train tickets, the cable cars, the plane tickets, the hotels, obviously, the museums, the bike rentals, the boat rides, all that is included in the price of the tour. And this is just kind of repeating everything that I just said. What is not included is lunches, as I mentioned, and souvenirs. But otherwise, everything else is included. The cost was $6,200. I did get it dropped down to $58.48. Actually $58.98. But if you choose to do auto pay, you save $50 more. And that's with $200 off. Actually, I got that extended to at least the end of September, possibly the end of October. That price should be pretty locked in. Another thing, I know that situations happen, and sometimes you need to cancel, and it's May, and you found out it's not going to work out. Something happened, grandma's sick, and you want to stay back. You can buy insurance on the trip. There are 2 tiers of insurance, like the mid tier for $350 and the high tier for $500. And if you do the high tier, you get all your money back, 100%, minus the cost of the insurance. If you can change your mind, the day before we go. And if you do the mid tier, I think you can cancel like a month before and you get all your money back. But if you cancel after that, you would get partial gift card and partial cash. So I highly encourage the better insurance, or I encourage you to know that you're not going to cancel if you sign up. Because I don't want you to lose that. This is what I mentioned. If you were to sign up and cancel, I think you get charged that $350. They basically charge you the price of insurance. If you sign up in October and change your mind in December, there is that cancellation fee. So please only sign up if you feel confident that you're going to go. You can make payments on the trip. I mean, that amount of money, it makes sense to make payments on it. And actually, you get that $50 discount if you sign up for automatic payments. So I highly encourage that you do that. This is just another look at the different levels of insurance. Everyone has the basic insurance, and then this is the mid insurance for $350, and this is the ultimate insurance for $500. All right. By the way, I think if anything ever happened with the middle insurance that was health related, like you got COVID or something, I did believe you would get a full cash refund. All right. I'm going to show you more about how to reserve your spot. Again, this is my contact information. This one has my actual cell phone on there if you want to text me or call me if you have any questions. Again, we have a remind that I highly encourage parents and students join, especially if you're going or if you have any questions. We have a Google Classroom. If you're going, you must join the Google Classroom so I can have you upload documents like your passport and stuff, because I need a database of everybody's passport, which, by the way, you need to get a passport if you're going on this trip, and you need to do it as soon as possible because there's a bit of a wait in them getting the passports. So once again, this is my ID, 334945, and that is what you use to join our trip. But honestly, if you just go to tinyurl.com/ERHS Europe 2024, you can sign up right there and you don't need to remember my ID. And once again, please sign up if you feel pretty confident that this is something you want to commit to, because I don't want anyone to lose any money. I care about your money. I think the trip is more expensive than I want it to be, but they've included the tips, and we added a day on there, and Amsterdam's kind of expensive, and Europe is facing a lot of inflation right now, much worse than the United States. And everybody's traveling. It's just making prices go kind of crazy. So I hate that the trip is as much as it is, but I understand it. This is a pretty premium company, and we're paying to stay in the nicest hotels in town and stuff. So this is the part where if we were doing a live Zoom, I would do like a question and answer session, but we're not doing a live Zoom. So I'm just trying to think of things that you guys might ask if you were in the Zoom with me. Roommates, I already addressed. Pick your roommates. You have 2 or 3 people to a room, the same gender. You can go on the trip if you have friends going, but you can go if you don't have anybody going. On the end of day 1, we have a lot of people that are like best friends with each other already. These kind of trips, they just lend themselves to people really getting to know each other and having a good time. So I can room you with somebody who you're not friends with yet, and everything's going to work out, I promise. As I said, we don't need to share beds. We have gender separated rooms. On this trip, I expect good behavior. If you're breaking the rules and you've been sneaking into your girlfriend's room, or you're taking liquor back to your room, I do reserve the right to send you back home on your parents' dime. So obviously, let's all be on our best behavior. I already mentioned it, but we do have some free time on the tour. You cannot be alone. You need to be in groups of 3 or bigger, and so you need to be comfortable with. Parents need to be comfortable with their sons and daughters having some free time, but I also highly emphasize that it's like a very important, fun part of the tour, and it's really what they remember. You're going to need to go get a passport. I've recently learned we're going to need to do, it's not exactly a visa, but the European Union is now charging something like $10 or something to enter the country, so we're all going to have to sign up to pay $10 to enter into the European Union. We're going to have some meetings, and we'll get to know each other. We might make like t-shirts for the group. Kids will get to request their roommates and hang out, and we'll have conversations. Did you get your passport yet and stuff? We'll have 2 or 3 meetings after school where we can talk to each other. A lot of parents ask me about cash and credit cards in Europe, and it's a question that's more for later, and we're going to have meetings before we leave, especially like with parents invited, where we talk about what you need to bring. But to answer that question, it's good to have some local currency, but me, for instance, I didn't really pull out any cash in America and bring it there. I just used my credit card, and when I needed cash, I used the ATMs in Europe. But you can go to Ontario Mills and pull out some pounds or some euros if that's what you want to do. Just so you know, the Olympics are in Paris next year, about a month after we go. So it's good and it's bad. It's bad in that it's probably going to be pretty busy in Paris, but it's good in that the buildings and everything are going to be at their best with no scaffolding, because Paris wants to show off and show how beautiful their city is. So everything's being cleaned up. We already saw it on our last tour in 2023. They were cleaning all the buildings and it looked amazing. So it's going to look really fantastic in 2024, right before the Olympics. And then again, that the price is subject to change if you don't sign up, in the month of September, possibly the month of October. So that is it for the slideshow. And I encourage you to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm here to answer anything that you got. And, I absolutely think this trip will change your life and you'll have a wonderful time, but I leave it in your hands. Please feel free to reach out, message me on my cell phone number or email or on Remind. And here's to an awesome 2024 trip to Europe. Thanks.